to watch Exodus. Speaking of scams and scammers, not quite, we'll move on from George Santos and the Biden DOJ. We will focus on something that isn't even human. Focus on AI. There's a story, it came out last month, but it's just starting to get some attention, of a new AI scam. You could find yourself picking up the phone, hearing a desperate plea from a loved one in the voice of that loved one, begging for money to be sent to that person's kidnappers. And it could all be a scam.
This mom got the scariest phone call of her life. On the other end, she hears her daughter crying.
She's like, "Mom, I messed up," as she's crying and sobbing.
Then a man gets on the line and claims he's kidnapped her 15-year-old daughter, Bree.
He's like, "Listen here, I've got your daughter. You're not going to call anybody. You're not going to call the cops." And I just put the phone on mute and started screaming for help.
The kidnappers demand $1 million before reducing it to $50,000.
I, at that point, started screaming at them that I want to talk to my daughter again, which they refused.
But here's the thing. Her daughter had not been kidnapped, and that was not her begging mom for help. Her voice had been duplicated by a scammer using artificial intelligence.
It's Allison. This is going to be hard to believe, but I've been kidnapped. They want $1 million ransom. Otherwise, they say they'll hurt me. I don't know what's going to happen. They want me to hang up now. I've got to go. I love you.
That's pretty creepy.
It's very creepy. It isn't quite there yet. There are these software programs where you can just put in 30 seconds, 1 minute of voice audio, and they will be able to clone your voice and then spit out whatever you type in 60 seconds. It costs nothing. It could cost $5 a month. But it's not quite there yet. You'd assume if you were being kidnapped and held for $1 million ransom, you probably wouldn't say, "Hello there, Mom. I'm very nervous about being murdered by my kidnappers. Please send $1 million. I love you." But it's pretty close. And there have been similar scams in recent years. This happened to my grandparents, actually. My grandparents got a call from a guy who said, "Hey, it's your grandson, and I need this amount of money." And they gave some details about this cousin of mine, their grandson. And luckily, they kind of got tipped off that things were a little strange, and my grandpa handed the phone to my grandma or vice versa, something like that, and they figured out what it was. But imagine if the phone call had been in the person's voice. You're going to see this proliferate. It won't just be 6 months, 2 years from now. This is going to happen everywhere like tomorrow. And this ties into a story from the top cyber spy over in Britain, former top cyber spy, who says that AI fakes and lies are going to destroy society. So this professor, Ciaran Martin, is just the latest figure or top figure from the tech world to say that AI is going to, quote, undermine the fabric of our society because we're not going to be able to trust anything. He says, quote, AI is now making it much easier to fake things, much easier to spoof voices, much easier to look like genuine information, much easier to put that out at scale. So having a sense of what is true and reliable, it's going to become much more difficult. And that's something that risks undermining the fabric of our society. This is a fair thing to be worried about. If you can't tell the difference between truth and falsehood, then you can't have a functioning society. This is just an acceleration of the problem of transgenderism. This is why people are so focused on transgenderism. It's not just because of the sexual fetishes of a handful of people, and not even because of the social contagion, and not even because it's now affecting children, but because transgenderism is a means to transhumanism. Because with transgenderism, the premise is we can't really know what a man is and what a woman is. And so you might be a fella who wants to have a normal, traditional life. And if somehow the surgeries and the procedures became advanced enough that they actually worked, and now if a man tries to chop himself up to look like a woman, you can tell. 99.9% of the time, it's pretty clear that the dude who looks like a lady is really a dude or vice versa. But let's say it did become more advanced, you would not be able to know. And so your inability to discern the truth would certainly affect your life. It'd be very awkward when the two of you try to have children. 10 years into your marriage, you decide, okay, maybe we're gonna have a child. And the guy says, oh, actually, funny story, I'm actually a dude, but so that would be part of it. And the transhumanism aspect is that we're just going to modify our bodies to such a degree that we're totally untethered from reality. But I think there's a silver lining to the storm cloud, which is, yes, deep fakes and cloned voices and fake images and videos. It's going to make it hard to know whether that video of a politician caught in a scandal, whether that's real, whether that means that we should kick the guy out of Congress or the Senate, or is it just a fake? Pretty soon, we're not going to be able to know. In some ways, political scandals will probably abate, because even if you catch the guy dead to rights, he's got 3 hookers and a big bag of crack cocaine, and you got him on 3 different cameras. The politician could probably just say, yeah, well, it's a fake. It's a deep fake, and you can't prove otherwise. Okay, yeah, that's a bad thing. But the silver lining to that is politics, I think, then is going to become much more local, much more immediate. It's going to return to be